broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
As we take selfies as we're starting. Hey guys, we are here live.
She made a pretty coherent song.
We are here. We are here live.
The new lyrics
on the League after show here on AFTERBUZZ TV. Welcome everybody. I am George Hermoza. You can follow me at Hermoza on the Twitter and the Instagram. With me is Steve Kaufmann, but also I have somebody. Well, I'll let you introduce you guys yourself in a second. But also I have somebody here who was
one of us is more important than the other apparently.
Last week we kind of talked about a few things, and she's here to defend the statement that all girls are not crazy. But you know what? Introduce yourself first. Starting with Steve Kaufmann.
You guys can find me at Steve Kaufmann. That is Kaufmann on the Twitter.
Check him out. And I am Christy Olsen at Christy Reports. And yes, I was horrified listening to this show last week as a viewer, as a female viewer. I thought that you guys were being a little one-sided, which is expected.
So what's your side?
Because you're males, and
so
that's okay.
What you're saying is Phil Svitek is
yes, I blame Phil
ridiculously misogynistic.
When I turned on this show last week live, all I heard was my name, and then I heard you saying, speaking of crazy, let's move on. So I felt that I needed to come and represent not only myself, but all the ladies.
All the crazies?
The ladies of the all the crazy ladies of the league.
So ladies, you're representing the crazies.
All the sane ladies, all the crazy ladies.
So you're representing the crazies or the sane ladies?
Both.
Really? Interesting.
Did you have me just pegged for one team or the other?
Pretty much,
all ladies. I didn't know. All ladies.
I didn't know
every single lady.
I didn't know you can be both, to be honest with you.
All the crazy ladies, all the sane ladies, all the crazy ladies.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, right.
We're working on it. We're
going
to cut an album later.
Either way.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of time. I'm sure there'll be plenty of time talking about crazy people in this episode, because this episode was crazy. I mean, I have, and we can all. I think I can speak for everybody here. We have never seen an episode of The League like this one.
No.
Never, ever have we seen an episode like this one.
It's my favorite episode of The League this season. Mm-hmm. It is my favorite Rafi Dirty Randy episode.
I agree.
Which is hard to, like, every year they have to top themselves, because they usually have one of the better episodes of the season. Just the Rafi Dirty Randy episode. Because we got Dirty Randy season 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, he's been integral to the fabric of this universe.
Of course, the episode is called Adios y Bienvenidos. So that is goodbye. Or Christy knows Spanish. What does that mean?
Goodbye and good night.
No. Goodbye and welcome.
Goodbye and welcome. Well, that doesn't make any sense.
Hello.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. It makes so much sense. It makes dollars.
It's goodbye, welcome.
Huh?
So yeah,
does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't. I was comically pointing out that it does not make sense.
This episode was literally an episode like we've never seen before.
I'm doing it. Goodbye, welcome.
Okay. So before we just talk about this episode, just briefly, maybe like in 5 words or less, what was your guys' opinion of this episode?
Freaking awesome.
What about you, Christy?
Christy can have my 3 if she needs them.
Why did these beautiful ladies get injections in their face?
Okay, that's a lot
from
more
the last 3 seasons.
That's a lot more than 5 words.
They look okay, but not great.
Oh, but we're sexist.
They look okay, but not great. And I'm here to represent the women, and I'm not going to talk about their injections.
Okay.
15 words.
Sorry,
I just what did I prosecute myself?
Incriminate.
I'm incriminated in 15 words.
I mean, starting off with the episode, I mean, usually the episode usually has, or the League usually has, kind of multiple storylines that kind of tie in toward the end. Now, obviously, you've seen Pete and his, I guess you can say, bachelorism. Mm-hmm. We've seen Brooks in many things. We've seen, Kevin and Jenny, a lot of things going on. But this episode was kind of mostly around one central theme, and it kind of, I don't know about you, but we all thought it was kind of going for a dark turn. Because very early on, before the even opening intro we find out that Sophia passes away. And she's been a huge staple of this episode. Obviously, she's very, very attractive. And Ruxin always takes credit for being like, dude, I got a hot wife. I'm ugly, but I got a hot wife, So Sophia's been very, I guess you can say, a staple of this episode, or of the show in the past, obviously, 7 seasons.
And definitely Ruxin's character, that he, and what Ruxin as a character values, which is beauty over all, above all else.
Now, Christy, you've obviously new to the panel, but not new to the show. You've been a fan of the show for obviously several years. But what do you think of the whole Ruxin and Sophia dynamic before we find out what we find out this episode?
Right. I'm horrified. By
no, but what do you think of the relationship before?
Well, listen, I can give him props.
Yeah.
That's kind of he seems like the number one guy to me, and it's all kind of because he has a hot wife. So I guess I buy it like everybody else does. He's number one because of the hot chick. I don't think she's dead. This is sad.
Really?
She's definitely
This
dead.
is like a whole...
She's dead. She's dead.
Totally dead.
No, I think her vagina is dead. Or something. Like, this is going to become a whole weird...
It's okay. We've
only
gone...
the men can understand.
Okay,
like,
first
this is going to go weird.
We've gone to certain... We've gone... No, it's okay. We've gone to certain places on this after show before, chodes and everything. So,
what do
you juggled some chodes,
What do you mean? What do you mean by her vagina is dead?
I think that this entire scene, this whole episode, may become sort of a like a dream sequence, like something we look back on and we go, oh, that's what they were talking about. Her vagina died. Now, I don't know a lot about cosmetic surgery.
Okay.
But I think that it can go wrong. She was in it for some. Maybe it went wrong. Maybe her vagina is dead. And maybe Ruxin sees that as Sophia entirely being dead. Which is sad because she's a mom and stuff too.
I mean, I disagree with you, respectfully, of course. But obviously, it does make sense because we have seen this show go there.
Right.
Obviously, we've seen the league, this specific show, just go in certain places that we've never thought that even they can go. But to be honest with you, that does kind of make sense in terms of like, oh, well.
No, I think they just killed her.
No, I do agree.
I think they just killed the character.
I agree that they killed off the character, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did take that route because of the show and how it just dynamic of it,
Or they could have two endings in the can, as many popular shows do. We know that this one is coming to a complete end. And they could have one where Sophia's really dead and one where just her vagina's dead and Christy is right. And they're going to see how the fans play this one out.
I mean, first
they
off,
want to see how the AfterBuzz TV hosts chat about this. They want to see how we break this down, and then they're going to decide.
First off, we all know that Christy can be wrong in certain things.
It's rare, but it happens.
It's rare, but it happens. Yeah. So, I mean, but yes, apparently she does. Early on in the episode, Ruxin does find out via text that she passes away due to complications of surgery. Obviously, she's been down in Puerto Rico for a while. I guess maybe visiting her dad. Who had a heart attack or a stroke? I'm not sure. Obviously, we'll get into him in a little bit. But she was down there, and she passes away due to like a mommy makeover, complication to her mommy makeover. And to me, at least I can speak for Steve, is she dies, dude. she passed away.
This isn't the kind of shit. This isn't Inception. This isn't Lost. She's dead. They only have 2 more weeks. Like, they don't have the...
She's hot and she is gone.
But, like, they only have 2 weeks to, like, wrap up the whole show. They really don't have time.
You really think she's gone?
She's totally dead.
I think if this was like a previous season, not knowing this is the last 2 episodes, yes, I would completely go with your theory. But it's like, dude, 2 more episodes and it's like they're done.
They're just gonna kill her off like that, though?
December 2nd, December 9th. They're done December 9th.
Oh, man.
No Christmas episode. This isn't Downton Abbey.
Sophia, I'm sorry.
So, I mean, obviously, a lot of people know.
Pour some out for Sophia.
Right?
Don't waste that. That's tragedy. Speaking of tragedy, here comes Rafi, who, of course, is Sophia's brother. And, of course, anytime we get Rafi, it's true. Like, you just have this mentality of anything can happen when Rafi's in this episode. And obviously, we did see this in this episode, or anything did really happen. So you had Rafi kind of mourning as well. And but what I think is funny, too, is, like, Ruxin was kind of using that as an excuse to kind of get ahead in fantasy football. And as a fantasy football advocate, I will say this. I will use anything to get a victory in fantasy football?
Would you?
Anything.
That's why I think she's not really dead.
Give me 1 second while I welch on this trade you and I have.
Okay. Because I know earlier they were talking about, you know, Ruxin being involved in a trade, and then he finds out the news of, you know, her passing away, and she's like, oh, well, I'm so sad.
Listen.
I can't even think about fantasy football. You know what? I'm just going to take the victory, you know, and, you know, it's like typical Ruxin, of course, using...
Listen, if I die and any of you, I don't even care. My husband, you, Steve, you, any of you are making NFL trades or fantasy football, you're doing anything that has to do with sports within like a 2-week radius of my death, you're getting your asses haunted. Like, that's some real shit.
So 2 weeks is like...
That is, yes.
The 15th day,
yes.
I'm okay.
Mm-hmm, yep. But
So-
until then, this is out of the question. It's out of control. It's ridiculous.
So, like, the week before WrestleMania, we can't go to WrestleMania. We can't do an after show for WrestleMania. We can't cover WrestleMania. Because people are gonna...
line, Steve. That's the line. You're right.
Like,
You're
what if,
right.
like, yeah,
You're
I'm
right.
leaving
80 years from now.
I'm flying to Dallas
I'm not
on
cool with
Thursday.
football, but if y'all want to do
She
your
said sports,
WWE
not sports entertainment.
WrestleMania, yes.
Okay.
If y'all
James
want
is
to
on
do
our
your
board.
WrestleMania predictions, I'm okay with that.
I mean, it's like one of those things where it's like, let's say you're lined up to interview Ryback on Friday. You pass away on Thursday. I mean, I think it's fair for the...
You're not going to let some other chick do that interview, right?
Ryback was expected an interview. So I think it's only fair that I enter that slot that suddenly got open and say, hey, let me interview Ryback. Right? It's fair. Although I have interviewed Ryback before.
If you enter the slot that I vacate for Ryback, then you and I are going to have trouble whether I'm come from the beyond or not. But I'm saying, no, you're right. Yeah, that's okay.
Of course I'm right. I'm always
okay.
right. We've figured that out before that I'm
right.
always right.
It's a 50-50.
But
We haven't even got to the animated part of this episode yet, guys.
we're getting there. I did like the part before we went into that. I did like the part where I guess Ruxin like needs to take a shower, and here comes Rafi, and be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sad about Sophia's death. I need to take a shower." And then in comes Rafi in Ruxin's shower, and I guess has a grief boner, which I didn't know existed.
Well,
I know fear boner
in this
and-
universe where there's a fear boner and
Exactly.
a food boner, and
there's not, those things don't really
there's
exist.
multiple types of boners.
And then before we go on to the animated scene, of course, we all said that this episode was crazy, and I know you told us before where like,
Well, I couldn't help but see it because we have a bunch of TVs there that are just recording stuff nonstop. So while I was here earlier, I had noticed an animated show that was animated in the style of Archer, and then I was like, that character looks a lot like Rafi. Oh wait, that's Rafi. Did the actor who plays Rafi get an animated FXX show? That's amazing.
that'd be a good spinoff.
And then I really thought about it, and I was like, this is when the league is happening. And then I walk over and hit the info button.
That's funny.
I hit the info button,
Steve.
and then I text you guys that I'm definitely in to fill in on this episode, because this episode looks amazing.
I did like the scene in where they're talking about getting a coffin, you know, for obviously Sophia's funeral, which because she's dead, Christy, she's passed away, and then talk about because the issue was
don't go.
they
The
couldn't
pretty
get the
ones don't
body
go.
because Sophia's dad didn't want to send over the body to America, so they were thinking about, I guess for whatever reason, putting
This
animals,
is ridiculous.
putting
She's
dogs.
not really dead. This
She's
is
dead.
ridiculous.
She's passed away. But putting dogs inside the coffin as the same body weight, and they're sitting there thinking about putting like half of Beethoven and to talk about Chihuahua, which I thought that line was hilarious, to be honest with you.
That was a good line.
That was a good line.
That was
Christy, you don't think so?
I mean, I do want my Chihuahua to be buried with me. Is that what this is about?
Now, is this assuming that your Chihuahua hasn't passed away yet?
Oh, okay.
We've drifted for the
we
second time.
We might as well go there because the league went
Chihuahuas
there.
in Puerto Rico?
Because the league
Yes.
went there.
Yes.
But I did like
No,
the.
this is ridiculous.
But-
She's not. She's too cute to be a corpse. She's not dead.
It's not like
You
she's
guys
gonna-
keep talking.
It's not like she's gonna
not
be around
dead.
next season, anyways. But I did, as always, I do love the Rob Riggle cameo. I think he's hilarious. You know, we've seen him in
always.
21 Jump Street and The Hangover. But so the thing is, they want to go get Sophia's body in Puerto Rico, and of course, who's the one guy that Rafi can always count on?
Dad.
Who?
Who?
Dirty Randy.
You're talking about Dirty Randy.
Dirty Randy.
Dirty
That's what I said.
Randy.
Played by Seth Rogen, who
Played by Seth Rogen.
is probably a little too busy to do a physically show up for the 3 or 4 days it takes to physically appear in an
He
episode
can
of the
VO
league.
from wherever he is, but he's not
Exactly.
going to come to set. So
I mean, it reminded me very much so of like I want to say Kill Bill, where they just kind of randomly put into like an animation scene, and literally the rest of the episode, with the exception of the last scene, was all animation. And here's something that obviously none of us ever really expected for them to go there, but they went there. And kudos to the animation too, because that animation was amazing.
For the record,
It wasn't lazy at all.
for the record, this needs to be a backdoor pilot.
I agree.
This needs to literally be
Spin-off.
a backdoor pilot for the Rafi Dirty Randy animated adventure hour. I just named it for you, FXS. FXX. Either or. Whatever you are right now.
So
There's
Dirty
3Xs
Randy and Rafi
actually.
go to Puerto Rico to get the body, and the thing that I love the most is continuity in almost any show. And flashback a few seasons where Aziz Ansari was on the episode, or was on the League, and he was a fellow plastic surgeon along with, Andre, who they were both battling to be number one, but something happened to Aziz Ansari's character where he couldn't, do this anymore in Chicago, and he has to go overseas. And I didn't see the credits, but I think it's pretty much confirmed that was
that's
Aziz
definitely
Ansari's
Aziz Ansari.
animated character on the League in Puerto Rico, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think they even had a thing where like he was missing a hand, which goes back to that one episode where he lost a hand. But I love that cameo as well.
Also,
What about you guys?
I also love that cameo. I love
Super
that
cameo.
this show feels very beholden to its canon, but it doesn't beat you over the head with it. That scene was written in a way that if you didn't remember the Aziz Ansari character from I think it was season 3,
Yeah.
You wouldn't feel lost.
you'd be like, oh no, metal hand, got it.
Yeah. Cute,
Moving
laughing
on.
anyway, but
Yeah.
not with depth.
They do encounter the dad, who apparently is not too fond of Rafi. Obviously, we see some flashbacks to the childhood when Rafi was, either taking a bath, I guess you can say, with Sophia, or kind of crashing the school dance or the prom. I don't know. I didn't really go to prom when I was a kid. Did you go to prom? Really?
One time.
Wait, everybody goes to one.
Early in the thing.
I went to
your
like
I went to college early because I was smart.
I went to homecoming, but I didn't go to prom.
Go to the
Yeah,
senior
no,
prom.
I didn't go to senior prom.
I was in college. Sorry.
Okay, I was in college because I'm smarter than
Because
everyone
I'm
else.
super smart. Because I'm so much smarter than I look.
IMDb officially confirms.
That was
Aziz Ansari.
What was his name? What was his
Dr.
name?
Henry Rocca.
What was it?
Dr. Henry Rocca.
Dr. Henry Rocca.
Rocca. I'm going with Rocca.
But yeah, here comes, obviously we're still in the animation scene. You have Rafi and Sophia's dad, not too fond of Rafi, and they end up finding Sophia's body, and I guess it was like in a wedding gown, just kind of standing there in the middle of the funeral, which was kind of weird.
He wanted to marry someone in the afterlife, but that was clear that then they made the one, like, very Bond villainy. They made it clear that it was because you were such a creepy brother. No Puerto Rican man went after Sophia and you drove her into the arms of the tentacly Jew, which I think this is literally the only show on television currently that can get away.
Say that.
They can get away with that line of just like the tentacly Jew. That and South Park. I think obviously South Park.
Family Guy too.
No, I don't think
Really?
Family Guy's on Fox. I don't think
That's
they
true.
could get away with that.
That's a good point.
No, you're right.
But they do end up finding Sophia, and as I guess I forgot if it was Rafi or Randy, but I think it was Rafi that said, "Oh, the dad points a gun at them," and automatically thinks, "Oh, it's a Mexican standoff," maybe not knowing what a Mexican standoff is. And I've watched plenty of Quentin Tarantino's movies to know exactly what a Mexican standoff is, and a Mexican standoff is not just one gun involved; it's many guns involved.
Very true.
You don't know what a Mexican standoff is, do you, Christy? You're giving me that look like I don't know
No,
what you're talking
I'm
about.
sorry. Is it different
I have a
from
gun on George right now.
And I have a gun on
and
you.
he-
That's a Mexican standoff.
and then I have to pull
And you
one
have
out.
then you have a gun
I
on
have two.
and then you
I
have
have two on both
but
of
you
you.
have one on me and one on Steve.
Yes, so
You're not
I'm the
pointing at
winner
Steve.
of the
You're not-
Mexican.
you're not pointing at
okay.
Steve.
No,
My
I'm winning
impression
right now
of
'cause I
Mexican
can-
standoff is that I win.
No, I'm pretty sure I can just win.
No,
right now.
no, I win.
See,
Okay.
but the key thing is fourth party James in the booth wins.
Yeah, because I
okay.
shot you
Not
all.
looking.
Oh, okay.
So that's So
I'm pretty sure
Wow.
James, the engineer,
Mine-
always wins.
Mexican standoff.
Wow.
Which
And-
little
The
known
things I
fact.
learned
But
on
apparently,
AfterBuzz
but
television,
it would be
people.
a Puerto Rican standoff because they're not in Mexico.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah.
All I know is Mexican standoff in Mexico is just got a standoff.
But in the meantime, they did find a chupacabra. I guess they're
El
real.
Chupacabra.
the El
Yeah.
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
That was once a myth. They proved that it exists now.
Yeah.
They like kill it. It's literally the cow killer, or like eats cows, or
The goat sucker.
It's like
The
a super
goat,
cute,
sorry,
like,
the
doggy
goat
wolf thing.
sucker.
I did
Yeah.
like that one line where like they were like trying to get Sophia's body, and they're like, "Oh, how are we gonna get over the border?" It's like, dude, all we gotta worry about her belt and her shoes.
Yep.
If anybody's flown a plane in the last 10 years,
If anybody's got 6-inch stilettos and a freaking $10,000 belt on, it's Sophia. So I don't know what point you were
and,
making,
I mean,
but
he looks like he's got a 10 grand belt.
listen, if anybody's shoes are high and heavy and filled with gold, Sophia's.
So at some point you have the dad kind of, shooting at Rafi and ends up striking a dead Sophia. By the way, a dead Sophia in the head. And what I thought was kind of funny was when then they flash back to the non-animated into the live action,
Right.
you open the coffin and there's Sophia with a bullet hole in her head, which was kind of...
I love it.
Yeah.
I loved
That was some imagery.
This is definitely like a top 5 episode for the whole series
agree.
for me.
I agree.
All we had to do is put a hole in the hot chick's head.
That had nothing to do.
Really? Oh, what? Oh, I thought that's what you were implying,
Christy
Steve.
just came here to imply that we're sexist. Just let her tell us we're.
Before we wrap it up in a little bit, I'm sure you have a lot to say about what we said last week about girls not being crazy. I don't know. Maybe you can prove me wrong.
Oh, that was before I understood that there is a correlation between crazy.
It's a scientific
and
evidence.
hot. Yeah.
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 So you're probably really crazy, aren't you?
I mean, I think that if any young lady could ask themselves, do I want to be crazy and will I take... No. Do I want to be hot and will I take being accepted as being that crazy to be that hot? I think any young lady would say, you know what? Fuck it. I'll be crazy hot.
Now we can officially put that explicit sign on the
Crazy
iTunes. On the iTunes. By the way, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to us on iTunes and on YouTube.
Oh, now
and
you
on
say
SoundCloud.
it. Tell them to give us a thumbs up. I really
Give
like
us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star rating. But before we wrap up, great episode of the League. I think we all agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great episode of the League. Great episode.
I'm gonna laugh so hard next week when Sophia's alive and you guys are eating your words.
When was the last time you were right about something? Because we all proved half an hour ago that I'm right.
It's been a while.
Also, next week is Thanksgiving.
Oh, you're right. I won't be here.
Well, there won't be an episode.
Well, before we wrap up, I want to know where people can find you guys on the Twitter and Instagram machine.
Well, you guys can find me right here, right now, obviously. But you can also find me on Twitter at Steve Kaufmann, Kaufmann. I'm also on Instagram, but I don't really use it.
No, but he has cute pictures because he's cute. And so do I, because I'm at Christy Report, ChristyReports, and I have exclusive celebrity interviews as well. So check out ChristyReports.com.
He really does. And you can find me at Hermoza at GHERMOZA on the Twitter, on the Instagram. But until next week, we will see you here. Thank you so much for watching us on YouTube and on iTunes. Well, listening to us on iTunes. But we will see you and hear you next week. Thank you guys so much for watching.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.